Welcome, fight fans, to Boxing Scene's top stories here on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. I'm George DeMatteis. Quick reminder to download the ProBox TV app for the full ProBox TV experience, which includes the great insights of our world champions. We got Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi joining us here on Top Stories. All right, time to talk about one of the best at 154. Tszyu said at a Tuesday conference call that he does not regret fighting through that nasty cut in his loss to Sebastian Fundora. The first initial reaction, he said, quote, "This ain't a normal cut. As soon as it happened, I looked down and there was a fountain of blood. I have never had that before." He said, usually there's a couple of drips and then it starts dripping a bit more and then it might get into your eyes a little bit. What's the task of getting through this? As soon as the third round started, it completely blindsided me. After a couple of rounds, I sort of got used to it and I was able to adapt a little bit. He also expressed no regrets, saying, quote, "For me, it was, if you're going to lose, you're going to lose that way. I'm not going to try and survive. I was there to win. And the only way for me to win was trying to smash my opponent. To pull out and forfeit, that's not my thing. It's in my blood. I'd rather die in that ring. That's the mentality I've got." All right, Paulie, are you surprised by this mentality? And is this the mentality why Tszyu is still one of the favorites to regain a title at 154?
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. This is a guy who was going to come back and fight Virgil Ortiz if not for the cut not being fully healed. So this guy wants all the smoke. A lot of guys, most guys today, actually, even most top guys today are just talkers. They are good fighters, but they don't want actually all the smoke against the top opposition. They want to use their good skills, their great skills, their great promotability to fight, run-of-the-mill contenders, fringe contenders, and then continue to play like they're the badass. But in reality, they're just playing a decoy. A guy like Tszyu is very, very rare, in today's day and age. He not only talks about it, he is about it, and his actions continually show that. He wants all the smoke. He continues to want the toughest fights, and the only reason a guy like Tszyu would not be able to get the toughest fights is if guys don't want to fight him. So far, we've been able to see the Fundora fight. Totally shocking cut. I mean, shocking job the ringside doctor did that night. In England, when they say shocking, it means like, bad. I was just shockingly awful, the ringside doctor. And the fact that Tszyu is speaking this way, he's being a good sport about it. He is obviously going to take the high road, and because he's a better person than me in that regard. I would have probably let everybody have it after that, But Tim is taking the high road, and he's gonna play the role that he is, which is that of a warrior. It's not normal. It's definitely not normal, that kind of cut. For him to say that, not only will I agree with it, but it's not normal for him. It's not normal for any of us. I've never seen a cut like that in my life. So certainly it was a one-of-a-kind situation. And I'm glad to see his mentality still strong, and he's continuing to move forward. And I look forward to watching him in more fun fights, continuing with the Matazalia fight in the coming month.
Yeah, Tszyu is, man, he consistently speaks like a fighter, and this is just another step in what I've seen from him, in a row of incredible interviews where he just says it like it is. He's one of the most genuine guys out there today. He really truly does want all the smoke, like you said, champ. He's a warrior, warrior mentality, but he also has a champion mentality. He doesn't make any excuses. He goes forward. He knows he'll get there, but he has a tremendous self-belief. And which is why he kept going in that fight, which is why he has no regrets about it. He's like, nah, I'm a warrior. I fight. He doesn't care about taking a loss. He felt like he was very, very confident in the early rounds. I did too. It looked to me like he was gonna stop Fundora at some point in that fight before the cut. Afterwards, he had to battle through that being blind. Which, listen, I've been blind in fights. I've had to deal with swelling and cuts, but nothing like that cut. Champ, you mentioned, speaking about that cut, how he was never seen. I've never seen anything like that. The amount of blood, the thickness of that blood, that was like lifeblood leaving that man's head. It was wild, the amount that was going. And listen, the viscosity of the blood matters, because how difficult it is to get out of your eyeball, out of your eyesight, really makes a difference. Couldn't see. And the fact that he had a very capable guy in Fundora in front of him. Let's not knock Sebastian Fundora. He's a very good fighter. And not to mention the guy's 6'6". So you got a guy in front of you who's throwing punches from a half mile away, and you're blind. The fact that Tszyu even made it to the end while getting hit with punches he couldn't see speaks to his heart, which also speaks to what he's saying. You know, the guy is all about it. He really is. And I trust everything that this man says, and I've seen that from many interviews over the past couple of years. This guy speaks the way I want my champions to speak, and he does what I want my champions to do. And hopefully we're entering a new era where champions don't have to be undefeated. And that one day, I think Tim Tszyu will be a champion, probably very soon, probably in his next fight. But listen, there's no easy fights at 154. If he's the guy who's going to be the guy at 54 to step in and take over all those belts, I'd be very happy about that. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And I think he is a net good for the sport.
Yeah, certainly has been interesting, the rise of Tim Tszyu. By the way, he takes on Bakram Murtazaliev October 19th, a week after Better Be a Bivol on Amazon Prime Video. So Tim Tszyu returning to the ring in Orlando. And Paulie, let me ask you this. How refreshing is it to see the attitude of Tim Tszyu when we talk about boxers and money and flash and everything? And Tim Tszyu is just keeping it straightforward, talking about boxing and being honest. How refreshing is that?
Yeah, it's extremely refreshing. You know, fighters today, somebody like Tim Tszyu, I'll put it like this, somebody like Tim Tszyu, if he's rewarded for this mentality, if he's rewarded more than other fighters for this mentality, because other fighters, most of them don't do this. If he's rewarded for this mentality, then it'll prove what fans and media like to BS about, which is we want to see the best fight the best. It doesn't matter if you lose. The old time fighters used to do that, and they never paid for it. Well, modern fighters do pay for it, and that's why guys end up nurturing their position instead of actually fighting the best consistently. If that's what you're about, fight the best, fighting the best, then somebody like Tim Tszyu isn't going to be punished for the Fundora loss. You know, somebody like Tim Tszyu is going to be able to continue to maneuver his way through the rankings and continue to take risks like he was going to against a Virgil Ortiz, which is unbelievable, and not get discredited for it if he comes up short, if he doesn't put up great performances. Dude, I've said this before. Eastern fighters are different. Tszyu is an Australian fighter, but he's Russian blood. Okay, I'm gonna keep saying this again. They want all the smoke. It's very rare for Western fighters to behave this way. They want all the smoke. They want to fight the best consistently. They do not care at what point in their careers they fight them. They don't care about nurturing their record. They want to fight the best because for them, it's about more than money. It's about legacy. It's about being the best. Western fighters are also excellent fighters. There are excellent Western fighters, but those guys, when they get to a certain position, they like to marinate their position, become Instagram models, nurture their position, fight mid-range contenders, and then sell it to you like they're fighting a top guy. And they put it on pay-per-view too to disrespect you even more. And you kiss their ass. Okay, this is not the way to do it. Okay, so the reason I will stay with my position that Eastern fighters are top guys is because the Eastern top guys all want all the smoke. There is not one Eastern top guy who does not want all the smoke and doesn't act that way. In the West, you got maybe your David Benavidez's who want to fight, who want all the smoke, but nobody wants to fight him because again, the West is full of guys who can afford to not fight guys like that, right? So in the East, Eastern fighters want all the smoke, and they'll come to the West and take on the best Western fighters too. Whether they win or lose, they consistently want the smoke. This is what makes boxing great. This is what makes why Better Be and Bivol is happening. This is why Tim Tszyu is going to continue to push this way because it's in his DNA. It's the only way he knows how to be. It's not about boxing. Isn't about being an Instagram model. I get you got to sell yourself. You want to have the love affair with the fans and the media. Fight the best, and the fans and media owe it to these fighters to respect them.
Champ, one more thing that we didn't talk about, and I think it's almost easy to overlook. His last name. The guy does not fall on the laurels of what his father did at all. In a sport and a business where nepotism and being a fan favorite or being a favorite of whoever's in charge is really important, and a lot of guys utilize that, how many sons of champions have we seen get fast-tracked? Not this guy. He doesn't want to do it like that. He wants to pave his own way. He's made it very he's been very adamant about that.
Not only fast track, because of the last name, they're able to fight those mid-range opponents
they're spoon-fed their whole career. This guy's not doing that at all.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's the opposite.
Yeah, so we got to not glance over that simple fact that he is the son of a legend and he doesn't utilize it at all. And it's so much so we actually forget about it. We stop talking about his dad because he wants to pave his own way and has been trailblazing his own way. I got so many positive things to say about Tim Tszyu and the way that he carries himself and the character that he brings to our sport, which often has no ethics or morals whatsoever. So, George, you said breath of fresh air, absolutely, in every way.
And guys, it's not just Eastern Europeans, it's Easterners in general, because Naoya Inoue wants all the smoke from everybody too. You know what I mean? It's not just an Eastern European thing. This is just an Eastern culture thing. It's just a warrior mentality.
Yeah, well, Tim Tszyu is the son of an Eastern warrior, Paulie, there. His father was Russian there, Kostya Tszyu, and he is following in the path of being a world champion. Tim Tszyu, October 19th, Amazon Prime Video from Orlando against Bakram Murtazaliev. Looking forward to getting the reaction of our world champions here on Top Stories. And don't forget, scan the QR code, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget, the best live fight series in all of boxing, October 9th, 3 days before the Better BF Bivol fight. Wednesday night fights here on ProBox TV. I'm George DeMatteis, and this is Boxing Scene's Top Stories.
Wednesday night fights.
Dynamite action on Wednesday night fights every other Wednesday on your boxing channel.
Coming up on your next Wednesday night fights, October 9th. Chris, Primetime Colbert, and Omar Super Salcido step into the ring for what is sure to be a barn burner. Live from the ProBox Event Center in Plant City. Get your tickets at ProBoxTV.com or take your chances at the door. Wednesday night fights.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.